Hello, welcome everybody, welcome. Here I am. Sorry, glad to see you. I was going to try something a little. Hold on a second. Let me just try this. Seven thumbs down already? Are you kidding me? Seven thumbs down? Amazing. That means everybody watching hates this. Who can only know why we have seven thumbs down? Anyway, that's what I was trying to do. Welcome everybody. It is Tuesday night. It is Tsp Tv Live, and oh my goodness, 7 thumbs down. What on earth? No, it's not like we've even got 15 people watching to warrant so many thumbs down. So I'm guessing people, this is some passive censorship. 11 people watching now. So my goodness, what on earth is good? That's the most thumbs down I think I've ever got. So anyway, welcome one and all. Who have we got? Cut the Cheese, Jasper, Maiden are here. How's the screen looking? Is it puffering? Have we got a good quality? Is anybody even still watching or commenting? Please say hello. Give me something to work with here. So we got Judy is here as well. Nancy, I noticed. Yeah, we Cut the Cheese. Welcome if you are new to the Thrift Store. We always do like to get new viewers. So something I do like to do is play a little bit of music when I start the show. That just gives time for people to arrive, say their hellos, yada yada, whoop-de-woo, ray-tay-tay. Because somebody, sorry, say somebody, but sometimes, you know, we sort of start the show and then somebody shows up and we stop the show and then we start it again and then somebody shows up, and that kind of can go on and on and on. So we play the music, give everyone a little bit of a chance to show up, get into place, get their chat on. Maybe the music might even lift the spirits and get you into the mood. Okay, oh my goodness, well, congratulations to you. Sings a lot. If it's your anniversary, enjoy your evening, and yeah, pay attention to your husband indeed. So we've got 11 people watching, 10 people now. Go kiss that man, Shah. So thank you. First time watching, well, welcome. Cut the Cheese. Hopefully it won't be your last time. Maybe you might enjoy hanging out with the Thrift Fam. I just noticed we don't got the Thrift Fam fireplace flickering. There we go. Almost a little bit of normality going. So we are trying to use, as I said, the Prism app, which is sort of turning out to be kind of okay. Let me just give you a little scan around. So I'm reading your comments on the laptop, and I've also got the screencast there on the TV. So almost a professional little setup tonight. However, don't really got much planned for you tonight. It's going to be another one of those little bit of press play and wing it, although I do have a little bit of news to share with you that isn't necessarily good for myself. Maybe not necessarily bad news for you, but I did have a little bit of disturbing, somewhat expected news yesterday concerning my return to work, or rather my lack of it. Now, kind of the bittersweet is that the restaurant will be opening next week. Unfortunately, there won't be any work available for myself in the foreseeable future due to the fact that there's been an extremely large amount of expenses that have been to shell out in order to be able to open, and then opening with limited capacity, with limited hours. It just isn't possible at the moment to possibly give me some shifts at work, which is a little bit distressing because I was kind of holding out, hoping that once the restaurant reopened that I would be able to get myself maybe not full-time hours, but at least a couple of shifts that might have been able to have brought a little bit of financial relief, because it has been over 4 months now since I did pick up my last paycheck and did my last not all the time, sometimes we do change it around, cut the cheese, but that is kind of the thing. That is what my little gig is, so sorry, not all the time, but anyway, as Judy Bell says, maybe one door closed, another opens. But as I said, guys, I was kind of holding out a little bit of hope that would bring me a little bit of normality, maybe a little bit of structure and stability, as well as a little bit of income coming in. However, I do have a little bit of possible developments that might not mean it's going to be completely different, but desperate, but we will update you when there is something more to update on that. So there you go. So Cheese, how on earth did you find us this evening, if you don't mind me asking? Still kind of baffled by the 7 thumbs down. Very, very surprised. I'm almost certain that's got to be some kind of algorithmic behavior. So if or not that is the case, we will remain to be seen. But who cares? We do know we have some passive censorship and some shadow banding, especially when you are kind of a non-monetized channel that may talk about truth-related subjects and possibly prepping stuff, as well as a whole bunch of things that YouTube doesn't really like you to talk about. Then these things are to be expected. So as I said, guys, don't really got much planned for you tonight, and as I said, was a little bit shocked, devastated, dare I say upset to hear the news that unfortunately, although the restaurant will be opening, it will be sometime, if at all, that I will return. Yes, Nancy, we have 7 thumbs down on this video. We've only been going for 17 minutes. There was 2 thumbs down before you even arrived, and it is something I have actually seen before in the past. There's been occasions where I've been uploading a video, and then I go over to the studio app on the phone where I kind of do my edits and put the thumbnail on, that kind of stuff. And before the video is even processed or been on the YouTube platform for a minute, there have been thumbs down. So it does suggest to me that it is an algorithmic behavior. Let's check if we've lost any subscribers, because that sometimes happens as well with these things. When we do live shows, sometimes the algorithm kicks in. Yes, we have, and we've already lost a couple of subscribers from tonight. So good stuff. Good job, algorithm. Thank you kindly for removing my subscribers and giving me 7 thumbs down already. It's nothing like a fair platform in order to put your content on. So anyway, that's it. So as I said, guys, it was a little bit of devastating news for me yesterday, so I wasn't really in the best frame of mind, but I did have a little bit of, as I said, possible good news and silver lining today. So maybe in the distant future things will may not be as bad as they seem right now. So hey, what's up, Jay Silver Bravo? Glad to see you in the house. So still waiting on Cut the Cheese to see if he's going to let us know how he found, or she found, Tsp TV tonight. Maybe let us know where in the world you are watching. But as I said, guys, don't really got an awful lot planned or up my screen tonight, and was kind of up my sleeve rather, and was in two minds whether or not to do a live show. But you know, I did kind of get a little bit of my rhythm back, something that has been lacking and missing in recent months. I'm not sure exactly what that is causing that. You know, sometimes you hear about writer's block or creative block. Not saying I'm a writer, not saying I'm necessarily the most creative mastermind or geniuses, but something I've never really had any issues or problem with is making videos and content, and I just don't know why exactly in recent weeks that these things of not becoming so easily to me. So yeah, that's about it at the minute. Sorry, hold on a second, I just need to check something on the computer screen. Hey Kaz, glad to see you. Sorry, bear with me. So what's been going on other than that? Not much really. We did have a tornado that hit, tornado warning that hit Toronto, which was a little bit of a strange event. Don't normally get tornadoes here in Toronto, although it wasn't like kind of the Wizard of Oz type of tornadoes. We did get a bit of a blustering wind that come through, and some very heavy rain, and some kind of thunder and lightning as well. So that was strange. And then also something that was very bizarre that I noticed today. When was the tornado? I think that was Sunday, come to think about it. But yesterday evening in my neighborhood, a huge branch on a huge tree just fell off and landed on a house. I should probably get out and probably get some pictures and photographs of that. But it was very strange because there was no real kind of bizarre weather events. There's no lightning or thunder. There's no high winds or anything. Whether or not the tornado kind of weakened this branch, and it was kind of just holding on by a thread. But that was a little bit of a development that did happen in my neighborhood. But anyway, no, Jasper, I haven't been out, hey Robin, so much to the grocery stores as of late to notice that the shelves are going bare. But I have kind of seen a few things on you know, social media from people posting stuff that they've been to their local grocery stores and have seen kind of empty spaces where once, you know, produce used to be overflowing. So, you know, we've kind of suggested that there is going to be a manipulated food shortages. This was actually how I started out my video productions for this year. The first video I put up was titled 2020 Coming Food Crisis. The time to prep is now, or something along those lines. But anyway, I informed you that there was something coming our way in 2020. Lo and behold, didn't kind of expect it to be as huge as the COVID-19 scammed pandemic. Don't think really any of us could have really truly expected just how much of a large global psychological operation that would be. But the reason we do prep is to kind of avoid such things as food shortages at the grocery stores, or maybe, you know, as I am finding myself now in you know, I'm out of work and in a little bit of a crisis situation, as many people are, as a result of being made non-essential. But in this period of chaos, you know, having a fully stocked prepper pantry as I did going into this, and still do have a pretty substantial amount of food that will foresee me for quite some time without me going hungry. So that is another thing as well we wanted to talk about, this coin shortage. Now last year I read some report somewhere that there was over 12 billion coins created and issued into circulation, and we're wondering where they've all gone now. And this really is part of the introduction towards a cashless society, and a little bit about part of the reason that there won't be any shifts for me for the foreseeable future at work is because of part of the stimulus package that the government is issued to independent businesses in order to kind of help them get back up and running. They are paying the payroll, so you kind of have to put your hours and stuff that are collected by staff if you're a business owner, and then hand those over, or via an application, most probably to the government, who will then reimburse you for those wages. So it is a little bit of what we have to kind of take into belief now, that this really is the beginning of the start of the one world order. This is a beginning of the guy pick up sort of regularly just to sort of top up the refrigerator, give me some fresh produce, things like eggs and potatoes mostly, and milk. Potatoes have become a little bit more expensive. Eggs are things that they are limiting you to only 2 cartons, as milk you can only get 2 gallons of milk per person. There you go. Yes, I did. There's, oh my god, what's the Neo-Wise or something? Neo-Size, Neo-Wise, something like that. There is a comment. It's like 6 feet wide, I believe, something like that, and it's going to come within 300 meters of Earth, or 300 miles of Earth. I don't think 300 meters. That seems a little bit close. And I've also heard that there is going to be some kind of asteroid that is going to be coming also very close to Earth in and around November. Now, I actually had some videos up towards the end of last year about coming comments and approaching asteroids that we would be seeing or experiencing this year. Unfortunately, some of those videos have had to been taken down as a result to try and keep this channel afloat during a community strike crisis that saw us close to being terminated. So in order to protect that, I did take a lot of content down that may or may not result in me getting that final nail in the coffin community strike wise. But asteroids, UFOs, these things are something that I have been talking about for quite some time on this channel, and something that I believe that we will be seeing in a psychological false flag operation capacity at some time in the distant, not so distant future. Now, something, I've also been putting a little video playlist together over the last months that is the COVID-19 a big cover-up, and during this time are they using these kind of manipulated weather and modified cloud structures to kind of hide goings on in the sky that they don't really want us to see about? Are these constant UFO sightings and declassifications from governmental agencies such as the Pentagon, the Ministry of Defense over in the UK, are 2 examples of governmental agencies that in the last few months have indeed declassified unidentified flying object reports. Over 700, I believe, in the United Kingdom were declassified. And is this the seeding? Is this the implantation of the ideas of getting people used to accepting the possibility that we are going to be or have been visited by UFOs in the past? And is this all part of Project Bluebeam? Are they going to be using holographic technology to simulate an UFO invasion, or maybe use the same technology to simulate an asteroid strike? One of the 2 would be feasible and well within the boundaries and capabilities of Project Bluebeam. This is what we're talking about, cut the cheese, that they're going to use holographic technology in order to simulate a false flag UFO event, and this is why they are declassifying UFOs, in order to kind of get us ready to accept it when it happens. Well, we did declassify these UFO reports a couple of years ago. We told you it was possible, and now here it is. And Could this be all part and parcel of the project that is going on? Is this going to be the further chaos that will bring the order from chaos? You know, the world is kind of falling to pieces right now. There are, you know, divisions within divisions. We've got an Occupy movement that seems to be replacing the Black Lives Matter and the Antifa, George Soros fueled protests. I did go out yesterday actually on the Thrift bike, had a little wander around not too far from my neighborhood, where there are a couple of these Occupy tent cities cropping up. Now, I did try to do a little bit of filming in both of those, but on both occasions I wasn't necessarily attacked or run out or you know, feared for my safety, but a couple of other residents or people that were living in these little town cities started kind of shouting some abusive and unkind things, and sort of could have got pretty hostile. Now, although I'm not exactly against getting down and dirty, when you're outnumbered and you've got kind of equipment and a bicycle, it's not exactly the best practice to be getting into. But I didn't really get as much footage as I kind of wanted to, and at the same time I kind of thought maybe, you know, these people do need a little bit of privacy, or maybe they don't need any more publicity for what they're doing. But tent cities are cropping up all in around Toronto. I've got lots of footage of the Toronto lockdown protest, cut the cheese, if that is something you are interested. I've got hours and hours and hours of footage that I recorded myself from the Toronto lockdown protest. So yes, I have streamed them. Or are you talking about, am I just going to put other people's streams up and watch those? And that's not something I do, if that is what you're meaning in terms of protest. And as well, you know, UFOs are something as a youngster that kind of drew me, I guess, into the world of conspiracies and governmental cover-ups. And I think it was a Jim Marrs book, Above a Top Secret, that I eventually stole from the library, or just never ended up returning. I kind of read from cover to cover as a young teenager. That was very, very fascinating to me about some of the UFO sightings and things. But I mean, goodness, this is now like 35 years ago that I was reading this book, or maybe not so long ago as that, if I think so. But sorry, I just was reading some comments out of the corner of my eye. But as I said, UFO is something I've been interested in from a very, very young age. And I guess maybe possibly because of movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T. that, again, movies I watched over and over again and had a great impact and, dare I say, influence on my life. But if you kind of remember, in both Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T., both brought to you, of course, by Steven Spielberg, they had a governmental cover-up going on in both movies. Although E.T. found Elliot and he started hanging out at their house and playing with Star Wars figures and Hot Wheels and eating Pez from a candy dispenser before an exhilarating BMX bike chase by federal and governmental agencies. There was an agency that was trying to locate them. They were driving around disguised, I think, as a pizza or laundry truck, and they were bugging and eavesdropping on the residents in the neighborhood, trying to find and locate the alien, as well as in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Once they figured out and decoded the transmissions that they were picking up from the alien mothership as to where it was going to be landing on Earth, they cleared a wide area of space in Wyoming using chemicals that were sprayed via helicopters that made all the livestock suddenly fall asleep and go into a comatose state, which many believed was a toxic reaction or a nuclear radiation leak from a power station nearby, and forced the people to evacuate. kind of a little bit like we were seeing at the beginning of the pandemic, when everyone was kind of told to self-quarantine, shelter in place, and stay in their home. What's up, Kelly Kibo? We don't know. We had 7 thumbs down before we'd even really started tonight's proceedings. If or not it is a algorithmic behavior, or people just really don't like me anymore, who knows. But we do get shadow banning, we do get passive censorship, we do get some algorithmic behavior, you know, there. So I don't really have an answer to that, but it is good to see you, Kelly Kibo. It is going to be kind of a little bit of a hangout and chill this evening. As I said, I did get some distressing, disturbing news that I wouldn't be able to return to work when my restaurant reopens. So I am kind of in a position now where I need to find myself another alternative. So that kind of took a little bit of a wind out of my sails, just as I was kind of getting a little bit back into a groove of going live and putting a couple of videos out for you in the last couple of days. That kind of took the wind from my sails a little bit, but I did try to sort of pick myself up, scrub myself down and get on with it today and not feel too disappointed about that. But it was more to the point that I kind of was a little bit comfortable where I worked. I enjoyed my job, with the exception of seasoned salads and those types of people that come in and feel the need to substitute and create their own menu. But I got on with my fellow staff, and you know, as I said, had a little bit of a family feel to it, just like the sort of community spirit that we have here at the Thrift Store prepper channel here, the Thrift oh, thanks JB Silver, J Silver Bravo. My God, I can't even speak. And again, we should all have prep hands. I actually got a few kind of nicks and cuts from ripping down trees and logs and campfires as of late. I don't know if you can see there. I got a little blister going on my finger. But accountant hands, yeah, well, you know, sometimes a pen in the hand of an accountant can be stabbed several and multiple times into a face and eye area, rendering somebody quite decapacitated, or incapacitated rather, or maybe even worse. But never underestimate the hands, and never judge hands by their covers or things like that. And I don't know if that's even a real thing, but anyway, you're providing to be an interesting addition to the chat tonight. Cheese, keep it up. Let's see where this goes. So what do you mean your garden's down, Nancy? What happened? You had some bad weather or something? Did this cause some damage to your garden, or is it like that kind of some slang like, yo, my garden is down, it's looking good, that kind of thing? Oh, okay. Well, ask questions. Can we all be, yeah, or we can be eliminated with a press of a button, possibly QPC these days. What else is going on in the chat? Okie dokie. So yeah, this isn't really a very structured show at all tonight. 37 minutes. It might even be a short one as well. No chat. I am old. You're only as old as you feel, Nancy. Only as old as you feel. So as I said, I did kind of want to get a show out for you tonight, because I did say on Sunday that we would be doing a show on Tuesday, and as I said, I do want to kind of try and get back a little bit more regular. We kind of lost our way a little bit over the last few months, but maybe that is a result of the weather and, you know, the summer days and being able to get out there. Hey there, Jesus Life Cato Rhonda Ramsey. That is an extremely long name, but welcome to you, because you actually left some very, very nice comments on my recent prepping, the importance of prepping videos. Look at Jasper, straight in with the acronym JLK. Yeah, we got JBG, JLK. Now, Jesus, Cato, can we call you JLK? Why not? Let's go with a JLK. That's what you're going to be known as. it would appear that JLK is also a little bit of a stoner prepper, so in some good company here. Welcome, welcome. Glad you could make it. So let's tell us a little bit about where you are in the world. I mean, it's not like stand-up newcomers, Alcoholics Anonymous or anything there. Tell us your story in that, but we would like to know possibly where you are in the world. Yeah, that's a very interesting point, QPC. Houston, Texas. Well, well, well. The Texas connection continues to grow. Jesus, like it almost sounded like I was cursing then. JLK. Half these people were from Texas, I think. Or certainly a large amount of the Thrift fam are in Texas. So Baby P and Judy Bell, Al Mal, she's not here. Little Anika, wherever she may be. Killer Kyle. Those are a few of the Texans I can think of off the top of my belt. But anyway, as for the adrenochrome thing, I kind of would have to agree to a certain degree that maybe it is fake news, because we know that we live in a day and age where, you know, on Facebook you can almost post something that is instantly removed if it goes against the grain of what Facebook considers is its community standards. Same thing with YouTube. They can take videos down, strike them for various reasons under the hate speech community strike setting. So when things that could really damage the elite, I kind of have to question their authenticity as to why they kind of somehow managed to creep through the cracks of censorship and be able to be spread wide and far over various social media platforms. And is this further misinformation, misdirection within the chaos and the misinformation and the misdirection that is COVID-19? Oh, you've been, my God, I just looked out of the corner of my eyes and seen the Facebook jailed twice this month. I thought for a second you'd been jailed twice this month, like in real jail. I was going to say, you go, girl. That's some kind of, you must have been like in and out. If that would have been the case. But yeah, Facebook does, and this is what I'm talking about, you know, if Facebook can suddenly sort of put you in individuals of a normal background into Facebook jail for posting things that it doesn't agree about, it kind of makes you scratch your head, as I've already mentioned, how these things kind of can get through the censorship. Unless, of course, they want you to see these and they want you to follow these rabbit holes and these kind of stories, because it misdirects you away from possibly what is really going on. And what is really going on is we are being driven and herded and engineered into accepting the one world order. We are heading towards a cashless society. The chips and the pins, they are only a matter of time away. The tracing and all the contacting stuff, this is all ready to go. It's all been developed. It's going to happen. And unfortunately, I don't think we really are going to be able to stop this if that is the will of the elites. See, JLK, you are definitely in the right place tonight, I believe. Well, we'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. Yeah, that is. And somebody said that, was it one of the Rothschilds or Rockefellers in the 70s said something similar along the lines that soon the day will come when the American population will believe and repeat everything they heard on the news. You go, Shawnee, and hope your work is too unpleasurable for you, because no one really truly has a good day at work, I don't think. But try and try and get through it the best you can without too much stresses and without too many shit cunts bringing you down. So sorry, Jesus Life, Kato Ronda Ramsley, quite the mouthful there. We do often sometimes drop some F-bombs, C-bombs and other kind of cursive words, as well as some inappropriate humor for time to time. My hypothesis is we are dealing with a closed loop feedback, all seeing evil. I'd have to agree. I would really agree with you there, QPC, and this is kind of again why I think we might be seeing some kind of Project Bluebeam, outer space, UFO, alien, asteroid comment type of event that will further, we know that would probably go a little bit towards some kind of depopulation, especially if they kind of simulated an asteroid strike using some kind of explosive ordnance there. You know, we don't go out of our way to curse, but at the same time, we don't kind of watch our P's and Q's. So I do think you are amongst your kin, and it is always a pleasure to get, like-minded individuals rolling into the thrift store and hopefully become part of the fam. So both you, JLK, and QPC, welcome to the Thrift Store, and thank you for contributing greatly so far. My word, would you look at that? We're up to 14 people. Sometimes the longer we go along, the more people arrive. Glad to have you here, ATN. Maybe some Hispanic people were called Jesus, right? Might be a name thing, but we don't, we have no discriminations here at the Thrift Store. We say come one, come all. Doesn't matter what you believe in, who you vote for, what you eat for breakfast. As long as you're excellent to each other when you're here, that's all that matters. And as many of you may be aware, I myself am an atheist. I don't have any religious affiliation whatsoever, but feel it is important. If some of you guys want to have faith in whatever faith you hold, that's cool. Do what you need to do. No one's going to tell you you're wrong for believing in what you believe in. And we kind of really do like to just share thoughts and opinions and hypotheses here. We don't often tell you what you need to think, what you need to believe in. And I'm certainly not one of those prepper truther type channels that will be telling you 99% of you are going to die if you don't watch this video. If you haven't got 16 years of ramen and 47 axes on hand, then you're not going to survive when shit hits the fan. There we are. So we try to keep it real. We try to keep it as honest as possibly can. Some of you have been following for a while will know that there is some authenticity. And something actually Jasper kind of left a comment in on that. It was actually kind of interesting. This is what his words, not mine. He said that it was actually interesting to kind of see how a prepper pantry works in real time, and I don't know if or not that is something some of the other guys may have found a little bit of interest, because when I started my channel, my very first video that I uploaded was of me putting my first $20 top up from the Dollarama into my little plastic storage container, which is now grown or did grow to a fully stocked pantry with around 8 and 9 months worth of food. However, 4 months into the pandemic, having to live primarily off of that pantry, we're down to about maybe 5-6 months worth of food if I had to kind of stretch it out. And with the news that I won't be able to return to work anytime soon, I kind of have to look at that stockpile that I have now and possibly reevaluate it and look to myself, okay, do I need to possibly try to start rationing a little bit to try and stretch it out as far as I possibly can, or am I good for another month before I kind of need to have to look at replenishment and rationing? As I said, not many people, I don't think, have been in a shit hitting the fan situation such as this, although it's not like the zombie apocalypse or the world's gonna shit like Mad Max shit hitting the fan. But we are in some kind of an apocalyptic society. The ways that we used to know, going out to work, earning a wage, being able to go to the grocery store and top up what we want when we want, sort of almost 24 hours a day, has gone. These normal pastimes and social behaviors are a thing of the past. We are now in the apocalypse, the post normality, the early dawn of the COVIDian era, as it may or may not be called in future reference books, if books are indeed a thing of the future. But Agenda 2030 is not very far away, or the year 2030 is not very far away, should I say. And those of you familiar with Agenda 2030, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, is little more than a depopulation agenda. And if you look and read into that, they want a cashless society, they want to end poverty, and inequality, a difficult word for me to say, inequality. And how they've done that, they haven't raised the lower class people to a middle class status. No, they are making everybody equally broke and lower class. And this is the people that are struggling as part of this pandemic, are the individuals that may be in the middle class. And I do actually have some friends that I met recently that were always, had an extra $10 in their pocket, was, weren't objecting to maybe buying a round of drinks or other party favors at social gatherings and things like this. But all of a sudden they're like, dang, I don't know how to live on $2,000 a month. I'm sort of using my credit card, and now that's been maxed out. But as I said, not many of us have had to survive in a shit hitting the fan scenario or an apocalyptic scenario, although it's not the coolest of apocalypses, I must admit, and had to result on living on our preps and pantries. And in the past, maybe a week or two being out of work is the most I've kind of had to stretch what small provisions or preps that I had on hand at the time. But this has been 4.5 months now, and really is showing no end in sight. And as I said, I was kind of hoping that by now or by the end of the month that work would reopen, and there might be a way that I can actually start replenishing some of the preps that I have had to live on in this last 4 months, and with no end in sight. There's a little burp for you, baby P, if you are watching. I know you're lurking out there. But as I said, with no real end in sight, how much longer am I going to have to live on my preps? You know what I'm saying? We don't know how long they have to last, or when I'm going to be able to, replenish the 3 or 4 months worth of food that I've already used to make that last any longer. And many normal folks who are kind of think possibly prepping is a foolish conspiracy, sort of paranoid thing to be getting into. These are the people that are going to be struggling the most, and that is mostly kind of the middle class, perhaps. And I do see a lot. Some of you know that I do, although I'm a little bit of a broke ass honky, I do actually live in kind of a nice neighborhood, and I do see frequently, daily, almost hourly, Uber, skip the dishes, pizza delivery, food delivery, grocery delivery, and all of this costs a little bit of extra money than just being able to go out to the store. And we actually have a new couple that took over Professor Franks. You may remember him. He featured in a couple of videos. He was one of the neighbors that lived in my building. We've got a young couple that have moved in recently at the beginning of this month, and almost every day they're getting food delivered. Now, this is a very expensive way to live, and how long can you sustain that kind of lifestyle on a limited income? And many people have done that. Many people have maxed out their credit cards already. Many people are living beyond their overdraft, and many people now are struggling. Maybe these are the people that we're seeing turning up at the growing tent cities here. They've just run out of funds. They've got nothing left to do but grab what belongings they can carry and go and set up a tent in a park somewhere. Anyway, the lockstep catch 22 is evil genius. Yeah, lockstep back in 2010. That was also around the time that the CBC, the Canadian Brain Washing Corporation, put out their Anatomy of a Plague. Or was it Anatomy of a Virus? And it was a plague dramatization kind of set in real time, using Dr. Tam, who's almost reading from the exact same script in today's real life as she was in the real time dramatization of a simulated outbreak. But this was without a doubt planned. This is all part and parcel of the design to implement those one world orders, and Adolf Hitler said that in order to transform society you would need to do so on an increment of small and tiny microscopic changes to society that people wouldn't notice. And this is kind of, you know, you possibly have seen some of the memes circulated on your social media. It's just a mask, it's okay, it's just waiting in line at the grocery store, it's okay, it's just a vaccine, that's okay, it's just a chip and pin. Where does it end? You know, we were told that we needed to self-isolate and quarantine for 2 weeks back in March. It's only 2 weeks. 2 weeks has turned into 5 months. The United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, as well as many other countries, are still under emergency powers, and once the emergency powers are implemented, it's almost unlikely that they will be revoked and go back to normal. And when there are emergency powers, this is how it's a lot more easier to kind of throw things through government in the courts and get them implemented into, you know, kind of constitutional federal laws. For all I know, I actually believe that he's still chilling on his island, maybe down in Antarctica. They got a big paradise down there. And maybe, you know, this is one great big Truman show. We're living in a real life augmented reality where they just kind of throw in these little things for, you know, almost like choose your own adventure for the elites when we used to read the books as kids. Maybe the elites are choosing their own adventure in real time, you know. Hey, David Rockefeller, do you want society to fall victim to an imaginary virus, or should we bring the dinosaurs back from extinction? Throw a 6 for dinosaurs, throw a 12 for the virus. And lo and behold, they threw a 12 and we're stuck with the virus. And I've also kind of thought to myself as well, something that I've been chatting about with some of the Toronto Truth crew. I've been hanging about the technology that we have at our disposal. We all believe that this is the height of technology and the advancement, you know, at contemporary times. This is the most advanced technology we have available to us at a commercial level. But what kind of technology lies within the hands of the elites that is, you know, could be considered alien to us? What kind of systems and machinery and capacities unknown to us are being used on us in order to manipulate? Maybe, you know, there are some kind of sonic freeway frequencies that are being transmitted. We've spoken about, you know, are we seeing things on social media that are kind of brainwashing us? Mind control, part of an MK Ultra project, is kind of creating Manchurian Karens, or getting people to behave in certain ways when they see certain triggers. And even the word itself, trigger, is something that has been made part of pop culture and contemporary slang. You know, even kids, triggered, that kind of stuff. So was that the implementation of the trigger society, that they can create Manchurian candidates that can be triggered by a vast variety of things that they may or may not encounter on a daily basis? For example, you know, a Manchurian Karen may have been programmed to get and react angrily if she sees somebody that isn't wearing a mask. And maybe people who don't wear masks are being programmed to behave the same way to people that are. And again, this kind of gets the division within the division. It's got humans against humans. Divided we cannot be united, and united we might be able to wake up, stand up, and possibly put a dent in things. But who knows what is waiting in store for the remainder of 2020? Will or not we even get to 2021 with the way things will be going. I wouldn't put a bet on us seeing 2021, and I also would put a little flutter on us maybe not seeing a presidential election this year. Maybe we will see some further calamity and catastrophic psychological Operation False Flag event that will prevent that from happening as we do race towards the one world order. Anyway, look at us getting near to the hour mark. So I'm thinking the mask ritual will be evolving. If you don't have an ID 2020 stage 1 vax, the rule will be relaxed. Quite possibly QPC. That's pretty much I think part of the script that they are reading from, and that is unfolding for us in real time. So are we all doing a hashtag Shah type thing there? Hashtag Shah, 15 of you all watching. So anyway, bear with me 1 second, you all, as I just do something. Not sure if anybody's done this yet, but I'm just gonna pop the tip jar in the live chat. Maybe that would have answered. That's what Cheese was referring to. Do you ask for handouts? No, not really. I don't ask for anything. I do advise you there is a tip jar if you feel like tipping me out for my service and trouble, although you don't have to. I understand that many people like myself are struggling at the moment, and things are tight for a lot of folks, so there's no obligation at all whatsoever for that. It just is a token gesture. But anyway, I'm missing some. I can't. Nancy, every single, do you maybe need a hearing aid? Because it seems to be every single stream you're either buffering or you can't hear, and everybody else seems to be able to hear okay. So I'm not sure. Maybe you need one of those trumpets to put in your ear that will make things louder for you. I don't know. Are you in the UK QPC, or where are you located, if you don't mind me asking? GPs are ordered to not to write exemption letters for any reason. Now that is something that you are exempt for here in Ontario under the bylaw that kind of requires you to wear a mandatory mask. Section 2 of that bylaw does say if you have a medical condition, you are exempt from wearing a mask. And it also goes on to say that employers or business owners are not permitted to ask for proof or the what that medical condition is exactly. They're not medical professionals. They are in no liability or you are not liberty, should I say, to be able to disclose any of your medical conditions with anyone but medical personnel. And that is kind of like the loophole. And you can even actually go to the Transit Commission, you know, the subway and the buses and the streetcars here, the TTC, and tell them, look, I have a medical condition, can I get an exempt card? And they will give you one. Oh, you're in Cornwall. It's been years since I went down to Cornwall, down where Newquay is a little bit of a kind of party vacation destination down there in the southwest of England. I'm from Swindon originally, in Wiltshire, QPC. And Cornwall is considered a little bit of God's country down there. So glad to have another Brit there. Many thanks to you, Maiden, for that. That is much appreciated. So QBC, if you don't mind asking me asking, how exactly did you find Tsp TV tonight? I'm very glad to have you. And are you a boy or a girl by chance? Because we do seem to have quite a few ladies here. Is Cali Ninja just arrived? What's up, Cali Ninja? Glad to have you in here. Buddy, didn't you say something about a PG&E helicopter crashing near where you lived in a little while ago? Obviously, if some of you can remember, the PG&E power outages were hitting Southern California, and during those power outages, surprise, surprise, some fires broke out, even though the power outages were kind of designed to prevent that. A little bit like the masks. Hey, if we all stay home for 2 weeks and wear masks and social distance, we're flattening the curve. COVID will be gone. But lo and behold, didn't go. But again, that's all down to manipulated data and facts. But I kind of believe, and at the time I did have a little bit of a series of videos about the California power outages, and suggesting that this is some kind of social engineering or a possible smokescreen taking down the power a little bit, again like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. If they kind of take the power down and nobody can use technology, upload, get on the Wi-Fi, use the internet, yada yada, whoopty woo, ray tay tay. But is it them getting, is a drill, were they getting used to sort of, you know, programming people in large areas to be without power for some time? Is this part of some kind of psyop for the future? Are they gonna kind of suddenly, oh my goodness, because of COVID, the power systems are overwhelmed, we're gonna only have to limit the amount of power that you've got? Because I heard something stupid fluctuating on social media the other week about how COVID-19 is now being transmitted through air conditioners. Don't put air conditioners on, you might get COVID-19. Smokes are something I need. Maiden, everything helps at the minute. Yeah, that's what you're saying, that they got out Cali Ninja, that no one was actually injured in it. Unlike poor Kobe, his helicopter went down and he crisped up in a second. Oh, you don't have to help. As I said, I don't expect anything from anyone, guys. I just, you know my situation. Via Agent Marth. Yeah, maybe you might be hard of hearing, Nancy. It does happen to older people, you know, sometimes they need hearing aids and stuff, although, you know, we don't say you are old, but you do seem to be having difficulties regularly with being able to hear it. So if or not, that is due to my technology, maybe I've got some settings wrong, but I don't think anybody else is kind of experiencing the sound issues that you are. And you sort of suggested maybe check that your headphones are plugged in. There. So was there any suspicion behind this? Was it kind of like, you know, a little bit fishy, the events of this helicopter crash, just like the sort of power outs last year? And another thing I was kind of considering also, that the were they conducting drills during these power outs? And if you kind of cast your mind back the year before, we had the Paradise fires up in Northern California, and some very bizarre phenomenon in terms of, like, there were trees that were burning from the inside, and how the forest fire kind of didn't really burn the forest but flattened houses to the ground and everything that was in there, so there's almost nothing left by dust, and kind of burnt and melted cars but didn't burn shrubs and bushes, and it was a forest fire. But I thought, what if they are practicing using directed energy weaponry that could be disguised as alien weaponry, a little bit like the heat ray in War of the Worlds, if you can remember that. That's what the Martian used as their weapon of choice. They had the tripod fighting machines that were armed with heat rays, and whoosh, with their heat ray they wiped out vast populations and areas with a blink of an eye. So was this PG&E, or was the Paradise fires the result of directed energy weaponry, and were they testing that directed energy weaponry as part of Project Bluebeam, the staged holographic alien invasion? And maybe we were talking about the technology that is well beyond our capacity to understand or comprehend. Are they going to use some technology that we haven't seen before that would look alien to us, that is going to be armed with these heat rays that they may be able to, you know, forests and stuff like this and remote living areas might have been the drill, but are they going to unleash this kind of technology on the cities, a little bit like Independence Day, and all the other kind of alien themed disaster movies, or you know, Armageddon, Deep Impact. If you watch any one of those, it's always like New York that gets hit first, and then maybe a Paris or a Tokyo or a Rome gets a little bit of carnage as well. London often features in these disaster movies, seeing you know, the before and after of the devastation. So is this something that we may or may not see in the not so distant future? And you know, a movie I've repeated time and time again. I'm pretty sure some of you already answering for me. Soylent Green. Are we heading to a Soylent Green type society come 2022? We're already seeing people living in tents in the streets. How much, you know, how many more people are going to start living in these tent cities? How many people are going to start living in their cars or vans? How many people are going to start, you know, trying to sort of bunk up with friends and family that you know, we can't afford to live in our house, but can we all come and live in your house kind of deal, share the bills, try and, you know, make things work. All this is suspect, and I agree with you. A TSP. Thank you, Canny Ninja. Also appreciate that. Thank you, Judy Bell. You guys are you know, angels, and you should know how much I do appreciate and cherish each in every one of them. The helicopter is still under investigation, you're saying there. So what was the Agent Marth thing all about? Did we get to that, the bottom of that? Agent Marth. Well, there is the Mafia. Maybe it was them that give the 7 thumbs down, but this is correct, and this is the true kind of devastation. You know, people aren't dying from the virus, and we've got to believe, or got to have reason to believe, that all they did was kind of manipulate the flu deaths and kind of relabeled them as COVID deaths to sell this pandemic, scamdemic, lockdown hoax. But you're right, things of, you know, it's an extermination. It's not just an extermination of life, it's an extermination of small independent businesses. The amount of businesses that have come to a close because they just can no longer afford to open. Even in my neighborhood, we might go and do a little walkabout this week if we can. Try and do a walkabout video, kind of maybe do a little bit of an update 4 months on what the city is looking about. But you know, some of the tea and friends and out and about videos, you kind of can see what is going on in the background. These are kind of real-time reality shows, I guess, where you can see how kind of society is looking here in Toronto. But there's this little tiny Tibetan cafe. It's been there for a long time. Little cute place, not fancy, little family run place. In like many of the little restaurants and bars and cafe in my neighborhood of Ronsonville, here in Toronto, this little Tibetan cafe, it kind of breaks my heart, and I don't know why it kind of breaks my heart more than some of the other ones, but they've kind of just set up this little kind of table at the window, one of the windows at the front of the business. They've kind of opened up, and either the husband or wife take it in turns to kind of sit at this little table trying to sell soda pops and chips. And you know, that isn't business, that's desperation. That's their, you know, how can they afford to keep open and keep the lights on and keep things running, selling a few soda pops and bags of chips. And I feel for them, and I almost wish that I wasn't in such a desperate position, so I could go every day and buy a soda and a bag of chips just to kind of do what I can to help. But millions of people are affected. You know, and yesterday when I kind of found out that I wouldn't be able to get back into work as soon as I liked, I got a sense of sinking and desperation, almost had a little bit of a panic attack, like, holy shit, I gotta try and find myself something in a time when literally millions of people are in the same boat. I mean, it's hard enough sometimes to find a cash paying job when there isn't a pandemic, but with hundreds and thousands of people out of work looking for jobs and cash gigs and anything to kind of supplement income that they may have lost as a result of being non-essential. You know, we're all in the same boat, and these jobs and positions are a little bit like needles in haystacks. But as I said, there is a possible little bit of silver lining that might be in the prospects and not so distant horizon in around early August. It might, as Judy Bell said earlier, the door closes, another one opens. This might be the new door opening, but fingers crossed. If those of you are of a religious nature, which I know quite a lot of you are, please, you know, maybe pray positively for a good outcome there. I'm going to ask the Force, and maybe the Force is already guiding me to that new opportunity. I like you, QPC. You're offering some great stuff today. You're right. The cashless thing is like, if you really do try to comprehend it, yeah, we wouldn't be able to function. Millions and millions of people would be obsolete. It's horrible to think of that, and believe it or believe it not, it was back in the early 90s, around 1992. I've told the story quite a lot of times, I'm sure. It was system called Mondex, which was the chip and pin. You went to this kind of like a bank building society, cash money kind of place, and basically you give them £100 and then they give you a card with £100 on it, and then you could use that card at businesses around the town to make purchases. And this was in a time when not many people had credit cards, where debit cards weren't really a thing. People still kind of used checkbooks, and at the time, like, they had these promotional staff there giving out little freebies, and I think they even give you a free card with £5 on to try and get you as a little incentive to get you to sign up for this system. I can remember having a conversation with one of these people that was trying to promote this, like, why would I give you my cash for a car? You know, why don't I just use the cash that's in my pocket to buy the things around the town? It seems like I'm just putting a middleman into the system for no purpose whatsoever, other than to profit the middleman, because you had to pay a little bit of a kind of transaction fee to put your funds onto this Mondex card. But it was at the opening of this store that there was some anti-capitalist, anti-globalist, anarchist types that were handing out some kind of truther related, I mean, we weren't called truthers then, but they handed me out some pamphlets, a VHS cassette, and a book on information that was all about the one world order, the new world prophecy of cashless society, one government, one religion, one rule, one currency that would be in an RFD pin, and all these ideas we're seeing unfold almost in real time. It's happening, and this is, like, nearly 30 years on that prophecy. What I kind of hoped and dismissed was just going to be conspiracy and paranoia and maybe just a little bit of whimsical entertainment is actually turning out to be disturbingly accurate. I actually needed to take a piss like a racehorse. In the cashless society, and something Maiden mentioned yesterday when we were having a little bit of a chat in the mod group was how important or how great it would be if we did have our little Thriftopia community where all us thrifty preppers and potheads could kind of go congregate together and live in peace and harmony and kind of contribute to that community and grow our own fruits and vegetables, keep a few animals, look after one another, and more than ever, is that all the more, I wish that was possible now. And even, some of our little truth crew that I've been hanging out, we've been talking about the importance and the possibilities of maybe trying to form and build a little community that might be able to kind of group together and sustain itself for a period of time. But might be wishful thinking, but I'm going to go and take a leak, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to probably try to wrap this up around the hour and 30-minute mark. As I said, I kind of didn't really have much planned tonight and kind of been rambling a little bit unconstructed, I guess, if that is even a word. There's not been so much structure with tonight's show. We kind of talked a little bit about UFOs, a little bit about cryptocurrency, New World Order, Agenda 2030, and what the lockdown has done, as well as the devastating news that I won't be returning to work any time soon. So let me go take a leak, guys. Please excuse me while I do so. Try not to listen to the sounds. All right. That feels better. So what are you all saying there? I don't believe about the coin shortage. That's just another psyop. Like, what the fuck are the coronavirus pathogens doing? Stealing them? Are they saving up to send away for a fucking whistle decoder ring from the back of a cornflake packet? What the fuck? How are we supposed to believe that there's all of a sudden a fucking coin shortage? And I've also seen that there are some places, Kroger, I think, was one of the companies that I saw that had some disclaimers in their stores that were floating on social media, where they round up, due to the coin shortage, we've got no alternative or choice but to round up to the nearest dollar. And if you all remember Superman 3 with Richard Pryor, Christopher Reeve, my apologies there, but Superman 3, Richard Pryor played a little bit of a computer programmer at the time, which was sort of quite out there at the time of production. The early 80s, computers were still a little bit kind of new, and we weren't sort of available in the household as they are now. But he was a little computer programmer that I think was employed by Lex Luthor. And he kind of was on the payroll and used to kind of make sure that people, the staff, got their paychecks each and every week. But he noticed that on every single paycheck there was a half-cent payment. There was, just an extra half-cent on every single paycheck. And he decided, you know what? If I transfer, who's going to miss half a cent off their paycheck? No one's going to notice it. But he transferred all those half cents. He took them off of the payroll and put them into his bank account, and literally overnight was a millionaire. And this is something they did in Canada a few years ago. They decommissioned the penny. The penny doesn't exist now. There's no more pennies. They took the penny out of circulation, so there's no Canadian pennies anymore. And what they do is round it up to the nearest 5 cents. They very, very rarely round it down. It's always rounded up. So each and every time you make a purchase, this may be 52 cents, you have to pay 55 cents. Those 3 cents do mount up to free profit, right? Anyway, this is the start of the cashless society, but if you can cast your mind back, and we did actually mention this in one of the earlier pandemic live shows that we did, because remember we were going live each and every day in the early days of this, but in one of those episodes we did mention, actually more than one of those episodes, reports of people who were burning banknotes because, oh my god, COVID's on the banknotes, it's transferred on banknotes, we need to burn them. And people were burning piles of money, cash, because they truly believed that COVID was being transferred on it. Or maybe they didn't believe it, they just were told that's what they should do. Or maybe, AI bot accounts created these posts and then manipulating the numbers to make it look like it was getting shared around millions of times. Other people followed suits. You don't have pennies here. Okay, ATN, we will see you later before you go. But anyway, we are going to try and wrap this up very shortly at the hour 30 mark. I hope you don't mind. We are down to 9 people now, so maybe that's because people are going out of work. Maybe we've lost the interest of some. Maybe some have gone to give more thumbs down. My God, 7 thumbs down. What a live show. Should we even bother? Maybe we should just take this live show down tonight. I don't know. Has anybody even learned anything, or has it been entertaining? But something I did kind of wanted to drop by you, and we did mention a little while ago during spring break, the prospect of running a Tsp TV telethon. Now, we did kind of joke that we might try to go for 12 hours, but I'm thinking a 10-hour telethon might be achievable and a little bit more realistic than a 12-hour telethon. And it is actually my birthday next Wednesday, so I thought maybe somehow, some way we could combine a TSP 10-hour telethon with a TSP TV 10-hour birthday celebration of sorts for next week. Maybe that's something you might want to see. Maybe that's something you don't want to see. Maybe it's a bad idea. Just stick to what you know, and stop trying to push the whatever it is, the telethon agenda any further. But you know, something I thought I got to try and find a way of paying the bills one way or another, and I thought maybe that might be a good idea and a fun way to do so. So some thoughts and comments on that. We are down to 8 people now, so when it does start to drop, that is even more of a reason to start wrapping this up. So guys, let me know what you thought tonight. I forgot on Jesus, that late GLK, was it JLK? And QPC, certainly always a pleasure to have newbies finding the thrift store and hanging out with us here. So let's have a last look at your comments before we do sign out tonight. And let me know if you had a good time or not. That's what I was trying to get to. Sorry, I was getting a little bit distracted trying to read your comments. The cash well, it's already been implanted, Kali Ninja, but yeah, they might bring that back and hit that hard in the coming weeks and months. As I said, they've already planted those ideas that cash COVID can transmit the yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. This is another reason why I'm going to wrap it up. I'm starting to get a few brain farts now. Yes, the long live would be fun. So maybe we might try and do a 10-hour telethon next week then. Doubling up as a TSP TV birthday celebration. Maybe, I don't know, some of you out there could send me pizza and a cake and we could eat it live on air. Or something. Maybe you even get some of the Toronto Truth crew, maybe see if one of those or 2 of those or more of those might be available to come and join in that broadcast. Or maybe we might even find a new location to do it. I don't know. It looks like the batteries are running out on the fireplace. I think I got 1 or 2 lying around somewhere. We might be able to change so we can keep the fireplace flickering. It does look as though it's still flickering a little bit on the stream. You'll be good, chat. They push that it will be easier then. Yeah, it's coming, Kali Ninja. And this is kind of a little bit why I am sort of finding myself unable to return to work, as we're already sort of, although we're not in a cashless society, we are in the early kind of stages of that. And the seeding of the belief that we need to transfer Yeah, to a cashless society. I think BBC's Black Mirror 15 credit episode may be the future, but possibly worse. Yeah, Black Mirror. I haven't actually watched any Black Mirrors. Don't even intend to watch any of those. But from what I've heard of it, the fact that so many people who may be not awake or truth-minded are suggesting that it's predictive programming, then you pretty much can bet your bottom dollar that it is predictive programming, and I will take your word for it, QBC, that there is a very, very good, strong possibility that will be our future. I truly believe that we are going to see a Soylent Green type future not too far away. So anyway, guys, let's start wrapping it up because we are at the 1 hour 28-minute mark. So I've got to say thank you to each and every one of you that did bother to tune in tonight. And again, let's thank the algorithm or the mafia for the 7 thumbs down. That is absolutely great. Thank you so much for those. Love getting thumbs down. We've actually got 11 thumbs up and 7 thumbs down, and we only had 14 people watching, so kind of makes you wonder, right? Did they like and dislike it? I don't know. Martha, unfortunately, still no mail. No, they don't want any of that stuff going on, Martha. They don't want any of that. They're going to rule that right out. That is what the cashless society is all about. Indeed, very good advice. If you can, stock up on some food and water. I might try and put a little bit of a maybe use some of my pantry items to do a little bit of a, hey, this is how much food you can put together for 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. I don't know, something like that. Maiden, what are the mixed feelings about tonight's episode? The thumbs down, the thumbs up, or what? I'm not sure. But great advice, Callie. Again, that's what I kind of said in my little prepping video the other day. So we are down to 7 folks tonight watching now. So with that, guys, thanks for watching. This is Shit Video Productions. This was Tsp TV Live. See you in the next one. Until then, keep it thrifty. Good luck, God bless, and take care one and all. Remember, be excellent to each other.